The Ducks lost 4-1 to the Flames, but not without some fireworks at the end. Dumoulin and Lundberg were battling in front of the net, and Lundberg took the worst of it. Dumo caught him up high, mostly because he's just so much bigger, and Lundberg lost it, jumping him from behind. The reaction, or lack thereof, from the rest of the team was telling. Aside from Zegras, no one really stepped in, almost like the boys want Dumo to be traded so Zellweger can actually play. I don't necessarily blame Karlsson or Helleson for staying out of it, but Killorn, a so-called leader of this team, he didn't seem to care until Zegras was the one getting attacked, almost like he suddenly remembered Z is his point producer. Then again, stepping into scrums isn't really Killer's forte anyway. Dumo seemed okay, and both teams skated 4-on-4. Then, on the next shift, Michikov drove to the net and pushed Pakal into Wolf. In response, Pakal suckered punch Minty. That should at least be fine-worthy. Hitting a player who's unaware in the face, then nearly spearing him as he pulled his stick away, that's the definition of a dirty play that shouldn't be in the game. Embarrassing. Even more embarrassing, no response from the Ducks. Though again, the guys who are on the ice weren't exactly the ones you'd expect to step up. Minty did seem okay though. Pakal got a minor for roughing, meaning the Ducks officially went 0 for 4 on the power play. Just another addition to the list of embarrassments for this team. Then, at the whistle, Harkins cross-checked Bishop, except Bishop was already falling, but Bishop went insane, and somehow only Harkins got a penalty from the exchange, despite Bishop getting plenty of freebies. Not that it really mattered, but again, no response from the Ducks. Maybe Cronin should have put Trouba or Gudas out there if he actually cared. After watching Dumo get jumped, how do you not send a message? You'd think an old-school coach like Cronin would handle that differently, but apparently not. Wasn't Verbeek supposed to make the Ducks harder to play against? Supposed to stop them from being pushed around? Because that definitely isn't happening. Just an embarrassing response and effort. This Ducks team seems to shrink in the biggest games and moments more often than not this season. They play the Flames 2 more times, so at least that should be fun. Remember those "you can't win here" chants? Yeah, me barely either. The game did start well for the Ducks, drawing a power play just 30 seconds in. While most teams would consider struggling to enter the zone for a minute and a half a bad sign, the Ducks did generate one quality chance, so by their standards, that counts as a successful power play. After it ended, Gauthier took a hard hit into the boards. He was okay, but needed some tape on his wrist. On his next shift, he took a penalty, but it worked out in the Ducks' favor. The only team in the league yet to score a shorthanded goal finally got there first. Lacombe forced a turnover at the blue line, and a shorty got a shorty as Vetrano picked his corner on the rush. It was a pretty even first period. The Flames had a couple of close chances, but their best opportunities didn't even result in shots on goal. The Ducks led 1-0 heading into the second. Karlsson was trying to hype up the boys with some smelling salts, even passing them around to everyone on the fourth line. Maybe because he's a fourth liner? Obviously kidding, but it worked for McTavish to get him going. The hyping didn't work as the Flames tied it just 15 seconds in. The Ducks barely cleared the blue line, Dumoulin got walked, Helleson didn't step over, and Gibson anticipated way too far. A little later, Harkins took a hit and went to the locker room, but eventually returned. The Flames kept generating chances, but
Mr. OC. OC's finest.
Held strong. Trouba threw 2 big hits on Kadri, who didn't like it, and instigated a fight, giving the Ducks another power play. Trouba's first fight as a Duck, by the way, and the power play actually looked better than the first. Even got a little scrum during it, as Zegras didn't appreciate a shove and swung back, leading to some Flames going after him. He swung again until he was headlocked? I don't know what the term for this is. Nothing came of it, and the Ducks didn't score, but they got 3 shots, and this chance by Lacombe was pretty. Then, just like the last time these two teams played, Trouba got an unfortunate bounce on a clearing attempt that led to a Flames goal. Honestly, I don't know what he was thinking on that clear. He had way too much time just to flip it out like that. Bad decision, bad bounce, bad goal. And the Flames had the lead in the final minute of the second. The Ducks did get a grade A chance to end the period, but snake-bitten Karlsson couldn't put it home. In the third, the Flames carried the play until midway through, when the Ducks finally got their best chance in a while off a solid fourth-line shift, but then it swung back the Flames' way. But Gibson made an amazing leg save look easy. Not gonna lie, this game was pretty boring for most of it. In fact, so boring that the crowd started doing the wave at a hockey game in Canada? Wild. But it worked, as if on cue, the Flames extended their lead with just under 4 minutes to play. Gibson expected an icing call, didn't get it, went to play the puck, and another bad bounce landed on the Flames' stick, 3-1, and Gibson was pulled for the extra attacker. Then Coronado seemingly completed the empty net hat trick, or so we thought. The NHL later changed the Flames' first goal to Coleman. Rough break. After the chaos I mentioned earlier, the Ducks ultimately fell 4-1. Overall, I guess you could say it was a close game for most of it, but the Ducks were just sloppy. It really felt like one coach outcoached the other. There are some good players on the Ducks, but it's also clear they're not being utilized correctly. Too many decisions that just don't make sense. Until Cronin is gone, this team is not going to take a meaningful step forward. Speaking of questionable decisions, Zellweger sat out for the 4th straight game. That's right, not even a chance to play in his hometown. If I were him, I'd be pissed. Just trade Dumo and get it over with. A month of development is worth more than a slightly better pick than they're going to get for Dumo at the trade deadline. A few other notes. It was McTavish's birthday. He turned 22. Maybe the boys had plans after. It was also Carlson's 100th game and Leeson's 200th. There were 2 moments on the broadcast that made me laugh out loud. First, whatever this defensive attempt by Gudas was, woo! Almost had it. And then Aller saying,
what would the Ducks have to do to be competitive in this race?
It's a great question, and they want to be in the conversation, right? We've heard that from the preseason all the way through. And they're probably going to have to play closer to about a 700 winning percentage clip to do it.
Okay, John, a team that struggled to hit even 500 for most of the year, and I honestly can't remember if they ever were 500, the broadcast propaganda has been going crazy lately. They also threw in,
we were joking with head coach Greg Cronin this morning. He said, the last couple of games have been fire wagon hockey. And I commented that I thought his team looked comfortable playing it, and immediately looked at us and said, I'm not comfortable with that.
By all means, Cronin, glad you're comfortable with sucking. At this point, Ducks PR should probably just let him stop talking. The Ducks now return home to face the Canadiens on Sunday at 1 p.m. Thank you to our members. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and go Ducks!
Klapka, and then he loses his footing, and he wiped out the linesman in the process. Fans always love that.
The linesmen and refs are just never the favorite people in the building.